I'm Jay Srinivasan. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Appurify. I'm not Appurify, but so anyway, our core focus is helping mobile app developers launch better apps. So fundamentally, we think that the mobile app development space right now is broken in a few different ways, especially if you compare it with the web world. Essentially, you have very siloed processes where developers build an app, you then compile it, you give it to your QA folks, they manually test it. You're really not focused on performance, you're really not focused on network efficiency, it's just very much about basic functionality, you try to test as much of it as possible manually, and then you launch it, and then you hope there aren't too many bugs in the field. Sometimes your customers find issues, it just becomes, basically, you're not putting your best foot forward when you're launching your mobile app. And one of the primary reasons for this is tools to actually build and optimize apps are not easy to create. And if you think about the mobile ecosystem, it's relatively young, and so mobile-specific debugging, testing, and performance optimization tools are in their nascency. And what this results in is essentially inefficient launches. You spend all this money building an app, you spend all this money marketing an app, and you ship it, and essentially you get one opportunity for a customer to try out your app and engage with it, and if they have a poor experience, they don't come back to it. So essentially, you have inefficient launches because of stability, network, lag, and as a result, your customers are finding issues, your ratings go down, your retention goes down, and eventually you lose revenue. And this isn't actually a theory that we've come up with, this is actually something that you see on a daily basis. So in this graph, we basically show two games that we're familiar with in our past. And these games are very similar. They cost around the same amount to build, they had the same amount of marketing spend. And the two curves shows the number of users that both of these apps had over time. And the primary difference between application 2, which did well, and application 1 was the quality issues at launch. Just more time was spent on application 2 on quality before launch. And what you find is stability, performance, and quality issues directly drive retention and ratings, directly drive DAU and installs, directly drive revenue. And basically, companies need a way to be app 2 and not app 1. So anyway, Appurify is solving this issue. We are a 20-person startup based in San Francisco. We're backed by some fantastic investors, including Google Ventures, Foundation Capital, Radar Partners, Felicis Ventures, and others. And we have a primary mission of allowing application developers to launch better apps so that their customers aren't finding their issues. Instead, the app developers are finding the issues before launching the app. And so, given that we have very few minutes, I'm just going to talk about 3 things that we do to actually help app developers do a better job. Number 1, we allow customers to test and optimize on real devices and real user conditions. So what you see here is a snapshot of our data center. We have arguably the world's largest API accessible iOS and Android device farm right now. So we have a data center in San Francisco, we have every flavor of Android, every flavor of iOS, multiple of each devices, and there are 2 distinct features of our device farm. One, it's API accessible, so you can literally, through our API, say, I want an iPhone 5S, iOS 7.0, and I want my app installed on it. The other cool thing, though, is we allow you to dynamically change the carrier signal and the carrier network and the signal strength. We allow you to adjust the amount of available memory on the device, the location of the device, the orientation. So essentially, you have an on-demand cloud of real devices that can be configured under real user conditions. And only if you actually test and optimize on these types of situations are you going to find issues before your customers do in the field. The second thing is, in the case of mobile, you're not going to succeed if you're just focused on manual testing and optimization. There's just way too many combinations of devices, operating systems, networks, memory conditions, etc. And so you really, really have to think strongly about automation. If you don't automate, you're going to let bugs slip through, your customers are going to find those issues. How Appurify addresses this is very simple. If you already use existing automation on simulators or emulators, we run that on real devices. If not, we also allow you to automate your scripts. And finally, it's not just functionality, we also fix crashes for you, we fix network bottlenecks for you, we fix performance issues, battery consumption,
Sorry, gentlemen, you have to stop. Okay.
All right, and contact us for more information.
So at some level it makes sense if you're a massive mobile developer or a massive studio to have this device found yourself. What's your sense for what that level is and how many people are below that level? A lot of investors are pretty skeptical of developer tools in terms of market size. So I'm interested to know what that level is.
So this is actually really interesting. We So we primarily serve enterprise customers right now, but we also serve a lot of smaller companies. And each of these folks has a very distinct problem. When you're a large enterprise that's building a bunch of apps or you have a bunch of developers, you're stuck, taking a step back, managing real devices is a non-trivial process. So we've been working for a year and a half, we filed 13 patents. A lot of our tech is on the stability and the monitoring ability of the devices. So if you're a large enterprise, you have a bunch of developers, they need a shared tool. On the other hand, if you're a small developer, there's no way you're going to be able to go buy every device out there or test on every device, but the same issues apply for you. So when you're a small company, basically you get the benefit of our shared pool of devices. When you're a large company, you get the benefit of us managing that infrastructure for you.
And with customers who are both very big and very small, how do you price your service and product?
Fundamentally, we think of ourselves as an infrastructure company. We price ourselves like EC2, Amazon EC2 or Rackspace. So it's essentially usage of our devices. So with enterprises, we typically have a monthly recurring platform access fee and then a fixed recurring rate per device. For smaller companies, we basically allow you to buy hours on our platform.
More questions? Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's welcome